Welcome to the Bus Came By podcast, man. We are so excited today, man. We got the smooth music of JP Taylor.
What's
Thanks
up, guys?
for joining me, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jam.
This is super fun, man. As you guys know, so Band on the Grand, that's what this is all about. We're excited to have JP on board. 2 45-minute sets of music. You get a set break in between, and that set break will be different dive bars, breweries, iconic places that we love. We'll stop for some libations, then we'll get back on for the second set. So the set break is just like an opportunity to support local business, which is super important. Today it's all about JP Taylor. And
thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man. We were recording earlier and listening to some of his tunes, which you'll get to hear here in just a few. I can't, man, what you do is amazing. Like the looping reminds me of Keller Williams.
Thank you, brother.
That's the one person I can think of when I worked at the Homegrown Music Network where, Keller was like our number one seller. And I learned a lot
Keller the seller.
I'm telling you. But what he does is just, creating a whole band on stage. And that's what you do, man. So what I'd love for you to do is just tell the people, like, when they buy a seat, hop on bus, hop on Stella Blue, what kind of music are they going to hear? What are you about, man?
I will say you're going to get JP music. That's the first thing I can say.
Absolutely.
I get a little bit of everything. I really, really like my jazz roots. I've been really liking reggae a lot lately, so you're going to get a lot of the reggae dub vibes. Like electronic music, a little bit of smooth jazz, like really the gamut, honestly. A little guitar, and then just some improvisation as well. So if you guys come out, you're going to get a special treat, and it'll be a one-of-a-kind thing right here on the bus.
That is for sure, y'all. This is crazy. Like, I watched what he does, and it's just he's building layers. And if you're not familiar with that style of music, it's amazing that one person can do what he does. Plus, he plays all kinds of different instruments. Tell us about the instruments you play. And
yeah, so my first instrument was trumpet. So you're definitely going to see a little trumpet, guitar, piano, flute, perhaps other flutes. We'll see. A little talk box.
Yeah.
A melodica.
Yeah.
Some whistling, some humming.
It's so great, man.
Some bleeps and bloops.
Yeah. It's about textures. I heard you go.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Tell us about your musical influences.
So I say my earliest influences, my dad was in radio as early as I can remember. He stopped doing full-time radio when I was born. But before that, he did hip-hop radio in like the 80s. And he really got me into a lot of like neo-soul and hip-hop and like New Jack Swing and all that stuff like early on. I remember listening to like Biggie Smalls when I was like 5 and like being really into it.
Wow.
And then I really liked like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears for like quite some time until I was like 11.
Yeah.
Really got into all that. And then really I started diving more into like hip hop, R&B, and then jazz, like Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
Miles Davis was the first. I had a professor named or a teacher, he's still here in Myrtle Beach, Dan O'Reilly. He plays every Friday at Trevinia's, but he really introduced me to improvisation and jazz like in middle school. And that's what led me on the path of doing it all through high school and then eventually studying jazz in college at UNC Greensboro. And then pretty much jazz has been like my biggest influence since then. And in the past like 5 to 10 years, electronic music, dubstep, weird experimental electronic things.
For sure.
Bass music.
Yes, my son, Ginseng, is an electronic music producer, so I'm familiar with that world of music. One of the things I noticed you were doing is it looked like you had like a mixer of some sort up on the top.
Yeah, I didn't bring it today because I left it at home on accident.
Sure. No worries.
But I do have a sampler, and that's where I get a lot of the weird like effects and a lot of the weird sampling, and I can do a little more stuff live with that. You know, I know people use computers, and that's my next step is sort of just diving in and learning the tech and the synths and. It's just, I played trumpet and flute, so they're just like hands-on instruments that I really studied for a long time.
For sure.
When you get out in the real world, you realize there's all this other stuff.
Yeah. If you didn't catch him at Vibe Time, he put on an amazing show.
Oh, thank you.
You had Tina out there with the percussion box and
it was a treat to have Tina that day, and Josh too.
She's fantastic. And I was just about to say, when he collaborated with Josh, like. That was such a magical moment. That was the first time you ever played with him.
I had never met Josh Daniel, never heard him. Yeah, we just met that day and we just clicked and vibed.
You could tell how you were feeding off each other. He was loving it. His body language was like...
It was really a great time.
Oh, man,
we were under the trees. Great. It was like very mystical.
One of the things that you just touched on is you play trumpet. I played trumpet for many years when I was a young person.
Okay.
I was in the band. I was a drum major in my marching band. One of the things I'm noticing, and it's sad to me, is there's a lot of defunding of music in
Yeah.
schools right now going on.
Yeah.
And I just want to know your take on that, man. Like,
It
what
sucks.
do you say?
Yeah, it sucks. It's a form of control. It's a form of suppression. It's a form of, I mean, I think it is. It's a form of like ignorance, perhaps to justify some other means, that's, you know, to save money or to. Really, that's the ultimate like argument, I think, is to save money from like cutting these programs. I feel now even more like responsible for carrying a torch for music,
Yeah.
for passing it down. I mean, when I studied music, it was all about like the lineage, like learning from people, playing with people. Like you go to jam sessions, you meet older guys who've played with older guys who've played since, you know, the inception of jazz music.
Sure.
So it's like now I feel a little more responsible for passing that forward.
Yeah.
And my band director now from high school, she's dealing with chemo, and you know, and she did so much to try to like give us music in her life. So
Yeah.
I've seen like people give everything they have to it. So I don't support music being taken away from schools.
What do you think is the most important thing kids get out of the music experience in schools?
I think confidence to express yourself. Yeah, I mean it's like the most cliche probably response, but I think it's the most true. Yeah, the confidence in yourself to express yourself through something. And also the ability to connect with people, like especially for like more nonverbal people or
Sure.
neurodivergent people.
Sure.
I've seen like firsthand people who are like in music therapy who are nonverbal, who over a period of months will start speaking or singing to communicate.
Yeah.
So I know that it's really impactful for certain kids. I know like most of my friends are in band because I was really awkward, you know what I mean? And my only confidence came from music, really.
Yeah.
And in a way that was detrimental later in life. You know, I kind of had to work through that. But
Yeah.
I think it really does provide a lot for people, and at that age, especially.
It's music, man. That's
Yeah.
like, that is what introduced me to everything else. Everything else. Like every musical experience I have
Yeah.
in my life, I owe to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my band director, Mr. Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
He was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that experience turned me on to Drum Corps International, DCI.
I did. I
Familiar with that?
auditioned for Carolina Crown one year.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I didn't want to do it. It was
Yeah.
too much. It was too intense.
It's intense, right? It's like next
I'm not
level.
cut out for like the military life.
Yeah,
like
if
that,
you don't
yeah.
know DCI, it is like the military for
Yeah.
for
It's
bands
like
and
elite
for marching.
marching band. Yeah,
Absolutely. But that being said, the you know, I remember
The
watching
experience
those.
is incredible.
Yeah, if you've
been in a
got-
room with a full band like that playing like that,
it's absolutely next level as far as
transcendent.
you know, being in band and then realizing, oh man, like there's a lot of blooming to do in this, right? Like,
yeah, I'm like,
from
I don't
playing
know.
trumpet in your high school band.
I need to go
like-
work out.
right. I love that.
I need to eat a few
I
less
love that.
ho-hos.
Well, speaking of food, I got some off the cuff questions for
Okay,
you.
yeah.
These are always fun. So, you're traveling across the United States on tour, JP Taylor tour, and I'm just curious about
I
this.
love that.
Like, you get hungry, but there's only one place you can eat. That's it. You got to pick one
place.
place. Where is it going to be?
I mean, I'm going right to sushi. Like, I don't know exactly where it would be though. Like, the best sushi place that exists.
Okay,
You
so
know, like,
sushi's your jam
in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not like the Midwest. You know, somewhere like where sushi might be like good.
You might
on the
struggle.
coast or something.
You
Yeah,
might-
I know. Like,
you
but
might
if we're on a
starve.
pinch, you know, like Wendy's,
Yeah,
Wendy's,
Yeah?
or like yeah,
You a Baconator dude? Is that what it is?
you know, like when I'm feeling really masochistic, yes, a Baconator. Stick with the cheesy cheddar burger. You know, the
Yeah.
healthiest options
Sure,
for late night, or you know, the
obviously.
gas station hot dog.
yeah.
No,
That's
but
crossing the
those
line.
are just in a pinch. The best food I've had on a tour was Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
Kansas City barbecue.
Okay.
Like, they had like a locker full of barbecue, and they would like spray it down with a hose. It was like a bank vault of barbecue. It was insane. It was half the
Wow.
size of the building.
All right, so collaboration.
Yes.
For me, collaboration, especially musically, is just, I've seen some of the most incredible things happen on many stages across the world. If you could collaborate with anyone in the world,
Anyone in the world.
who's it going to be?
I really want to collaborate with this guy named Kiefer. He's a producer. He plays piano, a jazz pianist, but he makes like sort of lo-fi hip-hop piano things.
Okay,
Very intricate, very
love it.
jazz informed. I would love to collaborate with Kiefer. I want to collaborate with him, make something. You know,
Ooh.
make something.
Ooh.
I recently got to open with them, so that
Yeah.
was incredible. To
Did
meet
you
those
get to
guys.
join him on stage?
I
with
played
him?
a song with him. Yeah,
You did?
It was great. Yeah,
Ah, I bet that
it
was
was
great.
really great. Yeah, it
I
was-
didn't get to get out there for that. I missed that, but
Yeah, big ups to
everybody was-
Big Something. Thank you. Guys.
Yeah,
Thank
big
you.
something. They're great. Great band. Great
Yeah.
live show. Yeah, and I heard they got down out there at the boathouse.
Like maybe if I had to pick like the most technically advanced musician I've ever seen in my life, you got to check him out. Howard Levy. He plays harmonica.
Okay.
Maybe the best harmonica player to ever have existed on the planet Earth. Like he's like stretched the technique.
Howard Levy. Okay.
Yeah, he used to play with Bela Fleck and the Fleck tones.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about change in the music industry.
Yeah.
If you could change anything that's going on in the music industry, positive or negative, just things that are happening in the industry, what's something that you'd change?
I would eliminate copyright laws and fundamentally reestablish our economic way of being. And, it wouldn't be capitalistic at all. There wouldn't be any money exchange. There wouldn't be any.
I'm feeling what you're
like.
you're
It would
putting
be very
down.
radical. The things I would change.
Well, I feel what you're putting down, but that brings specific light to BMI, ASCAP, and all the different companies out there that are paying musicians royalties, right? Like they're doing good for the musician.
On one hand, I'm like, I love to make that money. You know what I mean? And in this world I live in, I'd love to get that money. I'd love to, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I just wish there was not even, it wasn't even a thought.
So how do you feel about not being able to, well, it's not that you're not able to, but how do you feel like there being laws against performing somebody else's music? So if you just play a cover song.
Yeah, and that's where we get fundamentally back into like philosophically how we're like commoditizing anything at all. And the moment you commoditize or you copyright something in that way, then I feel like you're like polluting it somehow. And I participate in this. I accept money for playing because I have to survive in this world that I live in.
I mean,
but it's confusing because I want to be able to share music, and I don't care if it's used. Like I want it to be used or copied or done again, or and if it is, it's not that I want it to be done. It's just I wouldn't mind it. And then you have the people like the Grateful Dead who like their entire kingdom is built on tape recordings and people like recording thousands of different recordings of the same show and sharing them. And they still made it, and they're still relevant to this day.
They make more money than most every act out there,
and they weren't like stressing that hard about it. No. You know what I mean? They were just trying to joyfully share their music.
For me, what you said is so true. Like the Grateful Dead laid the roadmap for everything that we all copy. Yeah. But some don't. Like some don't feel like they want their music shared. But I saw firsthand, like you said, taping. Like how many bands have followed that? Like putting your music out in the world, letting people come and set up microphones and record it and share it with everybody they know. Mm-hmm. It's the number one way to get your music out to the masses. Yeah. And they were doing that before there was the internet.
It's just crazy.
There's no, now you've got the internet. You can
almost share it so easily.
You can share it like the snap.
In a way, the internet nauseates me a bit, though, just like from the sheer like volume of it and the presence that you're expected to have. Sometimes, like, I don't use a lot. I mean, I use my social media and I scroll, but I see so many people creating content all the time or just devoting so much time to it, and it's hard for you to imagine. Yeah. Because it just feels so overwhelming, and it feels like so much. It feels like a lot of demand on you as a person too.
All right, so we got a couple of fun questions here. Okay. So, if it wasn't for music, what would you be doing? I
was really into math in high school. I thought about doing engineering, like mathematical engineering or some kind.
Yuck.
Yeah, right. I thought about going to Duke. I went to Duke for like potentially going there for it, and then I decided to go with music. Being a statistician was like a high demand job for like certain fields. I just really liked math. I was very like into it. I still kind of am in a way, I guess. I really am into the idea of it. Like not so much practicality, like sitting down.
So you think you'd be doing something in that
probably
world
something like that,
the world of math?
Potentially, yeah. And that was pretty much where I was headed.
I mean,
as far as options go.
You can have that part. The math genes didn't come over here. So who's the greatest guitar player in the world and why?
The greatest guitar player in the world, like that ever lived?
Ever lived.
There's definitely different people I would like include in this category.
Sure.
Like Joe Pass, as far as guitar playing goes, jazz-wise. Yeah. Joe Pass is the guy. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have not, but now you're going to make me go check it out.
He did a lot of like solo albums, just the guitar.
Okay.
Playing like he comping with himself, playing those solo lines. Yeah. He's up there with like George Benson, in that world. Yeah. I think, as far as like that world goes.
Sasquatch, real or fake?
Real.
Real.
Yeah.
What instrument does he play?
The saxophone, probably, or like the
Without a
or the
doubt.
flute. Yeah,
Yes, a wind instrument
Yeah.
for sure.
I do legitimately believe that the Sasquatch is real.
80s metal. Who's your hair band?
80s metal. See, it's so funny because like hair metal is probably like the last genre on my list of genres. But I do like some hair metal. I will say I like, Guns N' Roses, like Welcome to the Jungle. I mean, like obviously that's a banger.
Incredible.
But, that's 80s hair bands. Let me think of anything that comes to mind.
So I grew up on like Poison.
Yeah, see,
And
I know it. I just
Yeah.
I don't know.
well, you're a lot younger than
Neutral.
I am. So
I'm
like,
neutral about it. I'm on like the
your
positive side of
childhood
neutral.
growing up was totally different music for me.
I like so
But
much.
I always like to ask people like, hey, like, hair band, just to see.
Welcome to the Jungle,
you
like
know.
Hot for Teacher. You
Yeah,
know what
okay.
I mean? Like, or like Every Rose Has its Thorn. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
All right.
That's
All right.
his corn.
So let's say you found a time machine.
Okay.
You can get in it and go backwards and play with anybody who's not here anymore. Who are you playing with?
So also hard.
Yeah.
Probably Louis Armstrong. You know what I mean? Like that band, like somewhere in New Orleans there.
Absolutely.
Like just particularly, Louis
Yeah.
Armstrong.
The Voice.
If I had to pick someone like in that era.
Who's your favorite female vocalist, musician
My favorite female vocalist musician.
of all time? Who gives you the
Anita Baker.
feels? Anita Baker?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I love Anita Baker
Tell me
so
why.
much. I just love her voice. I
Yeah,
love the
it's just-
music. I love her band. I love the
Does it give you the
composition.
goosies when you hear
Yeah, I
her
love.
voice?
Anita Baker, Ella Fitzgerald. Obviously, like I could go
Right.
back to her all the time, every time.
Yeah. So I'm going to open up a little bit bigger question here for you. I think it's real important to recognize that there's a lot of mental health problems going on in the music world, and we've seen lots of musicians go way too soon. There's a whole club for that, you know.
Yep.
But there's a lot of great, companies out there that are doing magnificent things for mental health. Nucci Space down in Athens comes to mind. They offer a safe space for musicians to come and play music. They help them get help if they need it.
That's awesome. I
Music
didn't know that.
Cares is out there as
Yeah.
well. You're familiar with that?
I think
feel
I've heard
that's
of
run
that
by the
one,
Academy.
I think I've heard that.
It's the Academy for Music, I think, is who basically runs that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, though. It's like just, putting it out there in the world that there's people that can help. It's setting them up
Yeah.
with the right, mental health counselors. It's getting them help, but more than that, it's also making them recognize that it's okay to be where you are.
100%. Yeah.
Go get help, So talk to me a little bit about mental health, your mental health practices. I'm sure like you probably have your own things that you do on a daily basis to keep your mind focused and whatever. Talk a little bit about mental health.
Yeah, I mean, my mental health has been chaotic for sure. You're basically sober from like cocaine, alcohol, ketamine for everybody out there, just so everybody knows. Just laying it all out there. But like I used those things quite frequently for several years, off and on, each individual thing. And a lot of it was stemming from like a lack of self-worth, and like also it goes hand in hand with performing, because you have people telling you you're doing a great job, or you want to like show up a certain way, because like the reality is that we all just like have different moods every day. And like that was hard for me to show up to play for people that are watching me and not being able to like be a certain kind of person that I thought I should be or whatever. Definitely that took its toll on me. And then, there becomes like two parts of you. You become like dissociated from that other shadow side of you or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've studied in like philosophies and religions a lot in my life, and sort of always dabbled, but never like really took those things to heart as much as I could have. And I'm still working through that now,
Sure.
But the biggest thing for me was realizing that I have family that loves me, my girlfriend who loves me, like God bless her, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany, out there.
Yes.
Because she like saw me through a lot of that time in my life. And my dad, big ups to my dad and my mom. My dad texts me every morning to check on me, you know what I mean? So just and like accepting that you have friends.
Yeah.
And I know like I've been really fortunate to have the community of people who do care. I know some people aren't as fortunate and like
Correct.
just don't even feel like they have a community. But I've been really grateful to find so many people in this city who are also in the same path and supporting each other.
Absolutely, man.
I support getting help from anywhere you can. You could always reach out to me, anybody out there.
There have been many in my life who've gone too early, and I wish that, they knew they could have reached out.
Yeah.
My nephew, Devin, this is his tattoo, and, he left the earth way too early. But, a lot of the depression and anxiety and all these things that musicians are absolutely, reeling with.
Yeah.
It's hard. You don't always see it, right? Like they hide it. That's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. It's tough because there's like a certain level of shame, and that's like,
sure.
AA is kind of built on. Like, I never really did AA or NA or anything because the trauma of like hearing other people's stories was a little too much for me.
For sure.
I know, like, I don't bash anyone who takes that path or whatever path is right for them. You know what I mean?
It's
like I still use natural medicines that I think are natural or like that helpful to me. Listening to what your heart says and really like checking in with yourself.
Yep.
Asking, do I need rest or do I need like community or do I need to check in with myself?
Yeah.
Those are all very important things, I think.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Well, thanks for sharing me with everybody.
It's important to talk about. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the greatest things that I wish people felt more comfortable with is doing that. That's a hard thing for someone to do, is to admit what their problems were and put it out there for the public to see it.
And I realized it doesn't really have it doesn't have any dangerous impact to me like I thought it would have to just tell people like what was going on.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, no, and it's not, I don't have an issue.
Yeah.
Just saying it out loud gets kind of like rid of the power of it.
For sure.
With any feeling, really.
Well, man, listen, I have enjoyed today. Special guest JP Taylor.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again, man.
Oh, man. I mean,
and thank you guys out there.
Yeah, this is an amazing thing that I feel like is really gonna enhance the music scene here in Myrtle Beach.
It's gonna be such a vibe driving this bus on the boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Windows down, breeze coming.
Yes, sir. JP is gonna be on board for our very first one of these that we're doing. It's very exciting. The inaugural run for Band on the Grand. It's happening May 11th. It's a Sunday. JP will be on the bus from 4 to 7 on that day. And we're excited to have you, man. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Those are his two go-tos for social media. It's where you're going to see your dates. It's where he's going to share this event.
Yes.
And there actually is a Facebook event out there for his show. Get out there and buy a ticket, man, because they're going to go. We only got 20 seats. That's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. So if you hesitate, you're going to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, come on out, guys.
Smooth Tunes, JP Taylor. Thanks for coming out, man.
Of course. Thank you, John.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you too, brother.
We'll see y'all soon. Cheers.
roll with you, take it slow with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. Microdose with you, binge watch a show with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. On the road with you, playing shows with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. Wanna grow with you, get so old with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. But let's talk about energy. Come on, spin me round and round. Will you get me so high? And I don't know why I can't get you out of my mind. 'Cause you know it's true, only wanna be with you. Right on the boulevard, once I'm in the blue. 'Cause you know it's true, only wanna be with you. Right on the boulevard, once I'm in the blue. We looking for fun, not thinking about the day that lies ahead. If we're stressed, so baby, we could just chill and sit. 'Cause you know it's true, only wanna be with you. Right on the boulevard, once I'm in the blue. But let's talk about energy, baby. Come on, spin me round and round. Will you get me so high? I don't know why I can't get you out of my mind. I wanna roll with you, take it slow with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. Microdose with you, binge watch a show with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. Wanna grow with you, playing shows with you. Maybe I can get high and even low with you. Gonna grow with you, get so old with you. Maybe I could get high and even low with you. Something just ain't right. We lost the magic long time ago. Something so tragic. Now you'll never know. You'll never know. Never know how much I loved you when we first began. You'll never know. Each time I try to reach out to you, even with what you put me through. Crush cigarettes and moonshine by the bed. Can't do enough to get you out my head. Life's passing me by, but time it moves so slow. You won't see me crying. Now you'll never know. You'll never know. Never know how many nights I tried to understand. You'll never know. Each time I try to reach out to you, even with what you put me through.